Tax dollars not at work as Democrats in Congress employ. We need to employ and empower American workers, not underage children in China. And it's time that we wean ourselves off from products that are made in China and tell them to keep their slave labor-created items and their diseases like COVID to themselves once and for all. Coming up, your tax dollars not at work as Democrats in Congress decide not to do their jobs, not even to show up to a hearing on the southern border as the migrant crisis continues. No end in sight. House Homeland Security Committee Chairman, Republican Congressman Mark Green is with us. He'll be here right after this break. Stay with us.
MikeHuckabee.com and sign up for his free newsletter and follow @GovMikeHuckabee on Twitter.
And welcome back. We want to pay tribute to a very special friend of this show, Bobby Caldwell. He passed away this week after a battle with a long illness. He was one of our favorites. We loved having him on the show. What an incredible musical talent. And many of us remember his songs. Trey and the band have been playing some of his music as we've come back into the segments. But we want to all say how much we miss him. We appreciate his great, great gift to the music industry, but also to pray for his wife, Mary Beth, and their whole family. Bobby Caldwell, a great American treasure, to be sure. Mark Green has served Tennessee's 7th District in the U.S. Congress since 2019, and as of January, he has been named chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, a bipartisan committee. But this week, all 15 Democrat members just decided to skip a hearing in Texas. It was intended to address the ongoing crisis at the border. Here's Republican Chairman Mark Green from this week.
Well, they said coming here was just a political stunt. You tell me. Taking a hearing to the point of the crisis for a first-hand view, or boycotting a hearing because you know we're going to shine a light on the truth. Which of those is a political stunt? I'd say the political stunt is these empty chairs.
Indeed it was. Please welcome back to the show Congressman Mark Green of Tennessee. Congressman, great having you.
Thank you, Governor. Great to be here.
This has been a pretty big week for you. You take your committee down to the border. Democrats originally agreed to go. They're going to actually see for themselves what's going on. And none of them show up.
And they didn't show.
Why?
I think really to make a statement that they don't agree with what we're doing. They, I think, thought it was a political statement that we were going there. But, you know, you don't read a book and do brain surgery.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you got to go. The leader has to get to the front get to the ground, see what's going on, understand, then you can make informed decisions about policy.
I have no idea if you realize what a big deal it would become, but the border chief put it all on the line and just basically challenged the people upstream from him. Tell us about what he said.
Sure. We knew that he was a straight shooter and that he would answer honestly. At least that was the reputation that he brought into the hearing that day. So I had the actual definition of operational control of the border, which is, interestingly enough, written into the code by previous Congresses. And we showed him that, asked if, you know, the United States has operational control of our southern border, and he said, no, sir, we don't. Then I showed a video of Secretary Mayorkas, you know, basically saying under oath to Congress, yes, we have operational control of our border. So then I asked him, well, is Mayorkas lying? Or is Mayorkas ignorant?
Didn't put him on the spot or anything, did you, Congressman?
Just a touch.
Come on.
And he kind of evaded that one, but very clearly he said, and he went on to elaborate, 5 of the 9 sectors on our southern border are unsecure. And it's very clear that the drug cartels in Mexico have control of those 5 segments of our border.
The cartels,
yes,
trafficking not only drugs, fentanyl alone has killed 100,000 Americans in a year. In 1 year. More than Vietnam twice. And they're trafficking little kids to be sex slaves.
Yes.
And you're telling me they are actually running more than half our borders.
Yes, and the way they do it is they have taken advantage of this open border situation. They flood the crossing sites with mass waves of coyote paid people, and those people are brought to those sites on purpose. You saw the El Paso.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that a diversion for? All of CBP had to mass at that crossing point at that point in time, meaning they thinned the rural line, and the fentanyl pours across the border when the line is thinned. They control the border with those mass waves of people, dictating where our Border Patrol has to go in order to handle the people. And we've got video from ranchers, game camera footage of hundreds in a night wearing camouflage uniforms, backpacks full of fentanyl, and carpet shoes to hide their tracks.
This ought to make every American boiling mad. I don't care what your party is. You don't have to be a Republican to be upset about this. So I'm stunned that Democrats don't think Americans care about that.
I'm stunned they didn't have enough respect for the Border Patrol agents who were there testifying to show up at the hearing. They even invited a witness from ICE, and he showed up. Their witness showed up, Governor, and they didn't even come.
But the sad part is our borders are being overrun by people, and we have no idea who they are, why they're here, what they're going to do when they get here, what kind of health they have, and are they criminals?
1.3 million gotaways since the president's been in charge. Now, 4.7 million encounters plus 1.3 million gotaways. And in our hearing just 2 days ago, Chief Ortiz said another 20% he thinks has crossed into our border without even being able to count them. So on top of the gotaways. And what is a gotaway? A gotaway is a person who intentionally evades the CBP, the Customs and Border Patrol agent. If you come in now, you're going to get paroled into the United States. So if you're avoiding CBP, there's a reason. And it's not to come into the United States. It's to bring drugs or nefarious individuals into our country.
There was a really just horrible incident that happened where Border Patrol agents were accused of whipping migrants as they were coming across. Secretary Mayorkas was very disdainful of his own people. President Biden said, we're going to punish these people. And I thought, how are you going to punish somebody? You don't even know what they've done yet. There was no due process. It was instantly just bringing people to judgment. I have to think that when your committee went down there and you talked to the Border Patrol, they felt better that somebody gave a rip of what they were doing.
No, they have expressed to us a deep gratitude for us trying to get to the bottom of it. In that particular instance, I've talked to the Horse Patrol. Yeah. And they're great Americans doing a very difficult job. They have very long reins because when you're in that brush, I mean, that's what a cowboy, out. And what's even worse, though, one of the organizations in D.C. sued to get the emails because if I subpoena them, they won't give them to me, but they'll give them under lawsuit. And it turns out Mayorkas knew before he came out and said, oh, these guys are terrible, we're going to investigate and they're going to be held accountable. He knew from the beginning that it wasn't whipping migrants. And we will watch for that hearing. It's coming.
What can be done? I mean, can he be impeached? I know he wouldn't be convicted in the Senate. It's run by the other side. But,
sure.
I mean, how do you tell somebody who is derelict in his duty and dishonest that your services are no longer needed?
Well, the question will be to the president, Mr. President, do you think a cabinet secretary should get away with lying to Congress?
Yeah.
I mean, he basically took an oath, and he was under oath. And if that's the kind of people that our president's okay with, well, we'll see how that works out in 24.
But maybe if he gave that answer. I'm just wondering if the president would respond and say, well, that's exactly the kind of people we're looking for. We can't afford for them to tell the truth.
Well, he certainly, chimed in with the Democrats and said that our hearing was a political stunt, which, was very disappointing.
I have to think some of those Democrats wish they'd shown up to at least understand. And thank you for really representing not just one district in Tennessee, but the country and taking those testimonies at the border. Thank you, Congressman Mark Green. For our audience, as always, if you want to keep up with the Congressman on social media, we are at Huckabee.tv, and we have direct links to Congressman Green. And I hope that if you have not seen the video of that hearing, be sure and watch it. It will give you a great deal of confidence in this congressman and what he's doing as chairman of the Homeland Security Committee. Right now, Keith Bilbrey is going to tell our audience what we have coming up on the rest of tonight's show.